last thing I want to show you here is almost an afterthought, but I think it's pretty valuable and I'm looking forward to using it more in the future. One of the nice things about Photoshop blending modes is that you can concentrate on building a tonal study on one layer. That is to say, you can work on a black and white painting and really nail down the light and dark. And then you can create a layer on top of that, change the blending mode to color, and tint the color without affecting the value structure that you developed in the underlying layer. And that's very similar to 7-layer painting, where you would do a burnt umber underpainting and then start glazing with color on top while letting the value from the lower layers show through. The same thing is true if you do any kind of comprehensive charcoal drawing as a preliminary for a painting. But because of blending modes, you can do that in Photoshop, and in some way it gets closer to some classical modes of painting that have value because they let you work out different parts of your composition independently from each other. So you don't have to worry about color when you're just trying to figure out light and dark. So just to give you a really cheesy example of what this means for the watercolor technique, suppose I were to make a circle and fill it with a kind of a neutral gray and then start kind of doing some really basic kind of chiaroscuro shading. Now, this is not great art, but it'll help show what I'm talking about. You want to do a shadow, and you want to do a highlight, and you want to just sort of work out, okay, I want my basic values to look something like this. Now I have this on a layer, create a new layer on top. I don't set the blending mode to multiply. Instead, I set it to color. That means that the only thing that this layer is going to affect is the appearance of color. So now if I take green, and I don't want it to be too intense, so I'm going to turn the saturation down a little bit, and I start painting on top, I am painting in that color, but you can see that the value, the brightness of it, is not any different. So I can play with these colors all I want. I can blend them, I can start layering them, I can do everything that I would normally do with color, but know that everything that I already decided about light and dark is set in stone, it's in an underlying layer, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. Now I can just think about color. And to me, that's pretty powerful. That frees me up to work out a drawing, do a tonal study on top, and then start thinking about color. And then once I've done that, I can take that and do a more spontaneous kind of color painting in another, maybe in another document or maybe in another layer, and just use this as a guide. But you can see, because we have the freedom of blending modes within this group, anything that you would want to do normally with Photoshop, you can now do within the context of this watercolor painting simulation. So I hope that this is helpful to you. I hope that people make good use of this technique. If you would like to send feedback, please visit my website. Once again, that's www.zoepeel.com. I'm going to leave links in the annotations here. And if you'd like to buy a print, that is always a very nice way of saying thank you. And otherwise, just make great art and keep coming up with new ways to use Photoshop. And thank you for watching.